Hi, I'm Nicole Newlist, and this is Nancy Holthus. Welcome to the TournamentEdge.net Breeders' Cup Memories. How are you doing, Nancy?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We're just here to talk a little bit about some of your favorite Breeders' Cup memories. Let's start with the most recent one that you have, just because it's so high on everyone's minds right now. American Pharoah in last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. I mean, we all have reasons why it's so special, but why is it so special to you?
Well, I'm a little biased for the horses that I did choose. I'm Oaklawn biased. Starting off, that's my home track. That's my hometown, Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I was very fortunate to get to see him come in the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. And, we were all fortunate in Hot Springs to see that he was a very, very special horse, following him all the way through the Triple Crown. And, he rebounded so amazingly off that loss in the Travers. And, going into the Breeders' Cup at, Keeneland, he was such an amazing horse, gate to wire, and to get that grand slam, that fourth jewel, so to speak. And he was America's horse, and he's a horse that still America follows. He's a true celebrity. So he really did capture the hearts and the spirit of horse racing, and that truly is a horse that still gives people goosebumps when they see that running of the Breeders' Cup
What
Classic.
was it like? You experienced him up close at Oaklawn. What was it like to experience him there and watch him through the Triple Crown series and through into the Breeders' Cup? Just having
Well,
had that personal experience
Well,
with him.
watching those races, I mean, to see him win the Kentucky Derby, knowing that he won the Arkansas Derby, it's that sense of hometown pride to see him move forward and progress as a 3-year-old to go on and win the Preakness and win the Belmont. I cried when he won the Belmont. Grown men cried, to see the Triple Crown captured. So it really was a sense of pride to know that he came from through the stages of the Triple Crown that started at Oaklawn, to know that we gave the champion his prep for those particular stages. So to know that Bob Baffert chose Oaklawn Park to start him there was really a sense of accomplishment, and to just be able to follow him throughout his career was just truly amazing.
Oh, I can imagine. You mentioned 3 horses, however, and going back to the next one chronologically, Caleb's Posse in the 2011 Dirt Mile. I mean, that race was a little before I was a hardcore horse racing fan, so I went back and was watching that replay, and I'm like, wow, he just flew in out of nowhere.
He did, and I have always been such a fan and had an admiration for the whole Von Hemmel family. And they're such amazing horsemen. And I remember I watched that race, the whole Breeders' Cup, actually, from a ballroom in Las Vegas at the Wynn. And I was standing on a chair screaming at the top of my lungs for this horse because, he came from pretty well off the pace. It was a great ride by Rajiv Murrah, kind of settling off the pace and made just a brilliant move around the turn. The Factor and Shackelford kind of really going at it on the front, and just a beautiful patient ride by Rajiv, and just kind of let him battle it out on the front end, came around and just blew by everybody. And to see Donnie Kay and his lovely wife just so beaming with pride, and just know that they did that job with that horse. I was so proud of them. He was the winner of the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn Park that year, kind of went through the stages of the Arkansas Derby, but he used the Indiana Derby as a prep going into the Breeders' Cup. And I tell you what, it was such an amazing moment because everybody was looking at me in that ballroom in Vegas, but I was so proud of Caleb's Posse, and to see now his lineage come to the track as a progeny. So it was an amazing moment for all of horse racing, and just I was so proud to say that I know some of the Von Hemmel family.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it was really fun just to watch that in preparation for talking to you today, because actually a couple days ago I was hanging out with one of Caleb's Posse's babies on the backstretch of Hawthorne. So just a nice little coincidence there. He hasn't won yet, but he was third in his last start, so hopefully AJ's posse will figure it out soon. But just, you were talking about that ride. It was just so confident. You know, Mirage, he clearly knew what he had.
Absolutely.
And then finally going back to 2007 and Curlin. I know he ran in Arkansas before going to the Triple Crown Series as well. I mean, what a special horse Curlin is.
Yeah, he was the winner of the Rebel, the Arkansas Derby, the Preakness, and you know, he really put on a spectacular show in Monmouth on the slop, no less. He was kind of smart, Robbie Alvarado was, to kind of keep him off that front pack. I think he could have gone through 20 pairs of goggles that day, as sloppy as it was. But, you know, kind of smart to keep him off that front group of horses, but just made a brilliant ride, you know, going around that far turn, and just knew what he had, as you mentioned, in the horse, and just really almost shifted into a different gear going into the stretch, and just kind of drew away and really put on a spectacular show on the Jersey Shore to make it really look easy in the Classic.
Coming home, it looked like it was going to be a battle between Curlin and Street Sense, and then
he just put him away. It's just like, my Derby winner, I'm going to show you what I should have done. So yeah, he showed the Derby winner that this is how it's supposed to be in the Classic. So yeah, and I'm just such a big fan of Steve Asmussen, and Curlin went on to be, you know, in the Hall of Fame as Steve was this year, and just to see his babies now, what they're accomplishing. So I love how it's all come full circle, so to speak. That's one of my favorite things about horse racing.
Oh, I mean, Curlin, he came full circle in a sense this year. He won the Preakness. He got his Preakness winner this year in Exaggerator. He won his Classic in the Slop. Exaggerator loves it just as much as Dad. I mean, he's waiting for his Breeders' Cup Classic winner.
Exactly. So I love that, you know, to me, it's not about, you know, the celebrities. It's not about the food. It's not about the fashion, although that's fun, and that is what gets fans to the sport. But it's about getting the horses to those particular races, and it is really the heart of horse racing. It's about the horses. It's about the people that get them there.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I find so compelling about this sport. Being around the horses, the stories of the horses, and the connections between the horses and the horse people. Yeah,
absolutely. That's it to the core for me.
Thank you so much. I loved hearing your stories about all three of these horses. American Pharoah, Caleb's Posse, Curlin. Thank you.
Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Nicole.
Thank you, Nancy, for coming on.